Today's mission is silly, but I am what I am. I'm going to a fly-in this weekend. Flying just a bunch of paramotors that go flying together. This paramotor has 49.1 hours on it. And I thought, it's my second paramotor, I thought if I showed up with 50 hours on it, it would have a kind of street cred. Here's a guy who puts on some hours to his paramotor. This guy flies. And I know 49.1 and 50 point something are roughly the same. Start her up. Make sure I'm centered. Let's try this. Future Woody here. So, I let this part in just so I could show the pool. I know my mom would want to see it, and maybe my family too, what it looks like from the sky. Sadly, for the next 4 weeks, this is what it's going to look like. Part of the process is just letting the dirt settle around the hole. So, we're going to let the dirt settle, it'll get hot, it'll rain, it'll get cold, it'll do whatever, and then they can put concrete around it and put some water in it and stuff like that. But, yeah, that's my new pool. We're pretty psyched. All systems go! So, I've been doing asymmetric spirals for about a month now, and really my goal is to do wingovers. Asymmetric spirals are just kind of practice to get there. So I'm going to try wingovers now. Probably not too extreme because I haven't done them in a while, but let's play around. So wingover, I just kind of pull, and then this time I'm going to go back and do 180. Then weight shift and whoa, this feels so big, so fast. I'm spiraling. Fuck this. Alright, goddamn wingovers are asymmetric spirals, like you just kind of toy with them, boom, boom, boom. Wingovers go from 0 to 100 in a gosh darn heartbeat, but I've got a lot of altitude. So I'm going to try it again and see if this time I can't... Oh, I'm in my wake. I'm going to go forward a little bit. I'm going to try it again and see if I can do it less extreme. Jesus, Woody. Take a breath. Alright, so we're just going to go a little bit this way. And then 180 this way. You know what? Okay, I don't like what I'm doing. I'm gonna take a breath. I might play with it more later, but I just have a vibe, and I don't want to be doing acro stuff while I have a vibe. And you know, I've been honest with you guys about my abilities. I am who I am. Someday, I aspire to be flippin' awesome at these things, but this year, I'm learning. You want to go low to the ground though? So. This is a sod farmer. I was here like this winter, and you know, they told me to land. They gave me like a hand signal where they kind of patted the ground, and I came in and I landed and I talked to them for like 20 minutes maybe. It was really cool. I don't think I had ever landed anywhere except where I took off until they told me to land here. So we talked for a while, and it turns out they like aviation, and the grandfather bought a hang glider once in an effort to get off the ground, but it didn't work out for him, and they thought this flying lawn chair was just the coolest thing. They said I could come here and launch anytime I wanted. Said I should bring all my friends, and I don't know, like the way I'm wired, I guess they wouldn't have invited us if they didn't mean it, but the way I'm wired, I tend to think like, oh, they probably don't really want me here. But I do use this as a place to kind of do my acro and fly around, because I know they're paramotor friendly. I'd hate to go to some other farm where, you know, maybe they hate me or something. So, anyway, I generally don't do fun stuff close to the ground, but I'm gonna do a little bit just to lose some altitude here, because this, what I'm doing here, well within my skill set. I'm more than safe. Plus, I'm really high. I mean, altitude-wise. Oh, horses coming to look at me. I try not to bother cows, but I really try not to bother horses because horses can be skittish, and you know, I just don't want any problems. I want friends. Pilots love flying down low. They think it's the coolest thing. I like all of it. I like being low. I like being high. I have a good time. There's a power line up here. Not too close, but I don't want to mess with anything. I don't push my luck. But I do have a good time buzzing around. Man, I never not have fun on my paramotor. This is my cup of tea. All right, I'm gonna get some altitude and fly somewhere else. So I saw this smoke like a mile away. I was wondering what the source is. And I'll tell you, I still don't know. I don't see a fire, or I couldn't see a fire. If there's one, it's certainly not raging. And all I saw was a swimming pool. Would a swimming pool give off like fumes or something? I don't know a darn thing about swimming pools other than how much mine is going to cost. And even that I don't completely know. So yeah, I don't know what the scoop is with all that smoke. I was high enough when I approached that I couldn't smell it or anything. Just a pool. Well, I'm gonna stop invading this privacy. So this is kind of interesting to me. I think this cloud formation is called a cloud street. It's not a perfect example, but do you see how there's one there, and then one there, and there, like how they're in lines like that? I think paragliders will go underneath one of those things, because the reason a cloud is there is warm, moist air rose, it cooled off, cool air holds less moisture than warm air, so it turns into water. And then, oddly, water is somehow lighter than air. That barely makes sense to me. I guess water vapor. I don't know. But, so those represent lines of lift that if I was free flying, and they're probably not that lifty right now, it's just left over. But if I was free flying, then I would go underneath those things, and it would keep me aloft. So, I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I've found interesting lately. You may or may not agree. So I'm headed over to this farm, and I'm going to sort of do some recon, see what the power line situation is like, and if there's no power lines, I'll buzz around it nice and low, and then head back home. I brought enough fuel, I would say, to safely fly an hour and a half, and I'm looking for an hour-long flight, but that means that I'm kind of kicking myself now. I usually bring 2 hours worth of fuel just in case. Just, you don't know. You know, like you could hit headwinds or, you know, who knows. I bring twice as much fuel as I need. And this time my safety margin was 50% and I'm having such a good time. It's like, darn it, Woody, you could have used a higher safety margin. You would have had a good time. But whatever. So I'm going to do some recon around this field. Look for power lines. So far it looks good, but I need to be 100% sure, right? Like, the thing about aviation is, like, if you're 80% sure you won't crash and die, well, shucks, you know, you can do that like 5 times, and then you've got a real problem. You know, I know that's chance and such, but work with me here. So, you need to fly in such a way that you can do it 100% of the time, you know, or as close to 100% as possible. So I'm doing a low pass. I've talked about it before, but power lines are just about invisible. I was high enough because I'm not dumb, but I've been surprised at how power lines crept up on me. And I've seen videos of other people who hit power lines. The poles you can kind of see, but especially when you get away from the roads and stuff, like, you just don't know. So, what is this? What are these birds or something? I don't mean to scare them, but I think they're just... Oh, they're probably ducks that like his pond. So what I'll do is I'll get to about here, which I estimate is about twice as high as a power line, maybe 3 times, and buzz around. Such a beautiful day to fly a paramotor. The forecast was kind of for winds all day, and then I saw it was forecasted to cut off at night. And I somehow had this idea that, like, it's been getting a lot better every night. I didn't even see that part of the power line. It's somehow been getting a lot better every night, and I thought, forecasted getting better, combined with my, like, pattern recognition, it's kind of overstating it, you know. Must be great tonight, and it is great. Man, summertime flying is so cool. I love that I don't have to, like, get dressed up and manage. I wear, like, heated gloves and a heated coat, and the batteries around that are a pain in the butt. In the summer, you know, I just throw on my butt fan and fly into the sky. Like, that's pretty great. Here we go. I feel like I'm paying so much attention to the ground that I'm really trusting in my power line recon. I don't know this area that well, I just found it. I can be pretty sure that, at least in this direction, there's no lines. I mean, I just flew here, right? Wow. I hope this farmer doesn't mind me buzzing around, because I don't want this taken away. I really like this. Sun setting, flying low. Like, good times, man, good times. Look at my shadow. I feel like safety is about 20 feet down and 1,000 feet up. Maybe 15 feet down. I think if I dropped 15 feet, I wouldn't like it, but I'd be okay. And then at 1,000 feet, we start bringing in, like, reserve parachutes and other safety things. An opportunity to sort out whatever's wrong. But it's time for me to head home. So I'm gonna do that. Man, this is awesome. All right, let's get some altitude. Gotta go home. Man, I hate to admit it, but I'm a little bit lost again. The haze is making it hard to see downtown Raleigh, which is what I typically use as my major landmark. And I've done it so many times, I can just keep it in the right spot and head home. But I don't see it out in the haze there. I'm hoping that's the construction area near my house, but I'm not sure. I'm also hoping that, like, if I just keep going in the general right direction, then I'll be fine. That might be the construction area by my house too. I went a little further north than I normally do, and now like I'm kind of approaching from a different direction. I usually approach from over there. So I think we're good. River that heads that way, and I was going to use it as my uncongested area. The trouble is, look, there's not really good places to land there if my motor stops working for some reason. And then I found this path. There's farms underneath me. I'm going to go around those houses and then follow those like fields up to the construction area, and then I'll be able to dart across those trees, and I live out there. So we're not lost anymore. I had a kick at myself for not adding more safety margin, but I think I'm gonna land with like half an hour worth of fuel, and I'm fine. And I'm also gonna stay high enough that if the motor turns off, I'll just land in a field. So I should be fine, right? Yeah, I'm fine. This is beautiful. Like, I don't know what that sunset looks like to you guys. I'll try and get more sky. But, like, for me, it's just such a privilege, you know, to do this. It's a magical day. It was really nice. It's like epic. And epic is a word I used to use in surfing. Here, I'll go to idle and talk to you guys for a little bit. Conditions in surfing, in New Jersey where I was anyway, got epic like 3 times a year, you know? 3 times a year, it would be that perfect day where it's barreling on the Jersey shore, overhead or maybe head high, and like everything was right. And then even then, it lasted for like an hour and a half. You know, it typically wouldn't be epic all day long. You'd catch it in the morning or you'd catch it at night. For paramotoring, it gets epic like this like 2 or 3 times a week. And it still leaves me speechless. Like it's just, I just feel really fortunate. Like, when I first started flying, I was like, man, I had no idea how restrictive the weather would be, how, you know, I would only be able to fly certain days, and how many, like, disappointments there would be. And then, as my skill set increases, the amount of days that I'm comfortable flying has increased. You know, it used to be that if it was a 3 or a 4 on the bump scale, I was like, no way, not me, buddy. Now it's like, all right, you know, it's not my favorite, it's not epic or anything, but there's fun to be had on bumpy days too. And yeah, like I'm just up here flying around. If this were any other mission, if I wasn't trying to get hours on the motor, I'd have it turned off right now. But as it is, I'm keeping it idling for the silly reason so that when I show up at the fly-in, I have 50 hours. No one's even gonna look or ask or care. But that's what's happening in my head. I'm just kind of buzzing in. That's my house there. I was pointing in a video, though I just edited a video. It's the one where I didn't hit my, I landed 3 times in it, and I didn't hit the 3rd landing, and I was so disappointed. Like, I hadn't had that happen to me in a while. And what happened was, well, one, the grass was tall, and I don't know if it messed me up as much as it freaked me out, but I felt like I couldn't see the ground. And 2, I landed by the driveway. Now, my driveway has these, like, ditches on either side, and I jammed my knee once. It was on takeoff, but I just took, like, a really hard step on an incline because it was a swale. And I jammed my knee, and it hurt for a while. Well, I had, like, replays of that in my head as I was coming in by the driveway, and I just wasn't, I just didn't do what I know how to do. Let's make sure I like everything. Yep. So now, like, I've probably hit like 5 landings since then. I don't record every flight, but in my head, I just messed up my last one because I just edited a video where I messed up the last one. So I'm gonna come in making sure I'm not over anybody's house. I'll fly over my own, but I don't like to fly over other people's houses. One of the things I think I'm going to do is land on the far side of the driveway. That way I'm not like trying to get down in front of it. I don't know. I want to be awesome at landing. There's a thing called spot landing where you really like pick exactly where you land, and I want to be great at that. The instructors I know, there's a guy named Johnson and Eric Farewell. They both seem to think that spot landing is the next thing that I should be working on. So let's call it. Do you see my driveway? Now there's like lines going. There's like thicker grass, more dead grass next to the driveway. I'm gonna say I land about double the width of that from the driveway. I'll show you what I mean. Do you see it? There's like a darker green stripe. If you could picture the distance to that stripe, and then that again, or maybe where that scar is on the ground, if you see the, turn around, Woody, where that scar is, I'm gonna put it down right around there. Let's see how close my reality is to my plan. I'm gonna come inside the power line. I like my seat. I'm gonna overshoot it, I think. Oh, maybe. Overshot it. I put it down in the nose. I got a little confused. I was kind of at like saturation overload, you know, like I'm like, how do I do this? So, but anyway, that was a safe landing. I'll totally take it. I wonder, oh look, I got 50 hours. So that was successful. Holy smokes, dogs and people. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I thought you came here on purpose.
No.
You're just following the dogs. All right. Hello. Did you come to see me? Hey. Hello. Yeah, I should be much. My dogs are going to be so jealous. All right.
Sorry about that.
It's not a problem.
Multi-million-dollar deals, got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke the seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pick up the bill. Now my life is in Maryland, my heart is in Chicago. New York state of mind, but out LA, man, that's where I go. When I need to lay this shit down, so much on my mind, that's the reason I'm spitting now.